Checking in with Steve Quick again from Ace Previews. We are at the pointy end. We're down to 4 on the women's side of the draw. There have been plenty of surprises, and 2 of those on one side of the draw, and also plenty of what we expected with those 2 on the other side of the draw. Coco Gauff and Alina Sabalenka, the last 2 hard-court slam champions, played each other at the US Open. Steve, how are you reading this? And would it be disrespectful to suggest that this could indeed be the final before the final?
Well, I think a lot of people are expecting or anticipating that this is the case, that the winner of this match is going to go on and win. But look, I'd be pretty wary of the 2 opponents coming through from the other side, and there can be sometimes that potential letdown after winning a big semi-final matchup. But look, can't wait for Rod Laver Arena tonight. Just for the stories, I think around both matches, having Coco and Arena together in one match, and then 2 maiden slam semi-finalists looking for their place in their first ever Grand Slam final. I think there's stories everywhere tonight. It's going to be great to see.
How are you splitting them, Coco? I think 3 of 4 on hard courts in the head-to-head. Sabalenka's 9 out of 10 this year, dropping 2 sets. Goff's 10 out of 10, dropping 2 sets. So form lines are pretty strong.
Yeah, they're strong for both. And I think looking at the markets, particularly for this match, and what I like about both players is that when they do fall down a set, they can show some resilience, I think, in terms of staying in the contest and being able to find a way back into the match. So I think looking at the match tonight, I think the over 21.5 games is something that does stand out to me. Look, use the US Open final as a example of that. Arena Sabalenka bursts out of the blocks and takes the first set. I think it was 6-2, and then Coco pegs her way back through that second set and into the third, and we, comfortably clear that total game. So I think looking at this, whoever wins the first set, I don't think they're going to have an easy time of it in the second set. I think, we've seen the pedigree of both these players. They're going to stay in the contest. So I think looking at the over 21.5 games looks to be the play at the current odds. But if you had to pick a side at the current markets, I'd probably go with Coco just because I think a little bit too much has been read into that performance against Kostyuk. I think people have seen the unforced errors. They saw that wasn't a great contest in terms of winners to unforced errors, but I think a little bit too much has been read into that.
Credit to Kostyuk too, who is a fighter and turned that into a real genuine battle. Diana Yastremska, first qualifier since 1978 to reach a semi-final at the Australian Open, and Qinwen Zhang is into the top 10 in the world, looking to emulate Li Na from what I think was a decade ago this year. So how are you reading that one as to who gets through to a first Grand Slam final?
Look, I've been pretty high on Zheng since the start of the tournament, and it's great to see her make it through here to the semi-final. Yastremska, you look back 2 weeks, and she found herself in the third set in each round of qualifying, let alone coming into the main draw. So she's certainly played a lot of tennis here. We know that her best can match it with almost anyone, I think, on the tour, but it's just the fluctuations in her level within a match are significant at times. I think looking at the games of both of them, I think Zheng appeals here. I think there's a minus 2.5 games available at the moment for her. I think when we look at both the quarterfinals as well, I think Yastremska, she only conceded 5 winners. I think it was 6 winners across the course of the match. A lot of unforced errors from the other end of the court. Whereas Zheng is able to take matters into her own hands a little bit more. I think what we saw against Kalinskaya was a very nervous start. The nerves settled a little bit midway through the second set there, but she was still able to produce over 40 winners, even with her forehand looking like it had gone astray a little bit. So I think there's a bit of room for improvement there. Looking at both players, if you look at the ceiling of both, I think Yastremska's probably just a little bit higher, but I prefer Zheng in terms of her ability to stay at a level near her best across the course of this match.
Going to be a fascinating night of action at Melbourne Park. We'll check in again on the men's semis, but you can catch all of this on the Hub. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.